Attention gamers! Did you know that Halo Infinite has received outstanding support from the gaming community as a new first-person shooter? Like most current FPS games, we are introduced with a competitive ranking system to establish a hierarchy of toxic players. I am here to provide tips and tricks on how you can personally improve your rank in Ranked Arena in just 10 minutes. To begin, we need to get a basic understanding of Ranked Arena as a game mode. Halo Infinite offers different queuing options, the option to change between party sizes with open and solo duo queues, and the option to queue based on your input method. Open play allows bigger parties along with the chance for crossplay. Crossplay provides a way to play across different consoles or with PC friends. Solo duo is limited to parties of 1 to 2 people. As for the input method, this is pretty basic. If you are a controller player, choose controller. If you play mouse and keyboard, choose mouse and keyboard. While you are more than welcome to try them out and find your preference, I strongly recommend sticking to what you are. For instance, I wouldn't play open if I was solo queuing. Speaking from experience, you will have a much more enjoyable time if this is the case. The progression system that is offered through Halo Infinite runs through ranks in a specific order based off your skill level. At the very bottom is Bronze 1 through 6, progressing to Silver 1 through 6, Gold 1 through 6, Platinum 1 through 6, Diamond 1 through 6, and finally Onyx. A player will sadly have to play 10 games, otherwise known as placement games, to get a baseline MMR, or matchmaking rank. If you are familiar with the ranked multiplayer modes in other games, players are promoted or demoted purely based on whether they win or lose. One aspect that has been apparent about Halo Infinite Ranked so far is that the mode is not based purely on victory. Other factors within each match will dictate how one moves up the metaphorical ranked ladder. Some theories include how well you play the objective, what your kill-death ratio is at the end of the match, or even winning or losing based on the opponent's ranks compared to your own. All of these options factor together to create a placement in the many categories of Ranked Arena. To rank up more successfully, you may want to consider some of these helpful tips and tricks. In the settings of Halo Infinite, you have the ability to change your field of view. A lower field of view results in a zoomed-in appearance of your screen and what you're able to see. Higher field of view allows you to see more of your peripherals and what is going on around you, but may manipulate your front-facing view and throw off your aim a bit if you aren't used to it. I have adjusted my field of view to 100 to have an optimized balance of both awareness around me and a zoomed-in feel that I am personally comfortable with. The great thing about settings, you do not have to have an exact copy of how I play. I strongly encourage you to mess around with this in either a bot match or training to fit your playstyle. Next on the list is your sensitivity. This does not mean how many insults you can take before breaking down, but how fast you can spin. You are given the options of look acceleration and actual movement sensitivity, as well as individual scope sensitivities like the BMR or the sniper rifle. Adjusting these higher than default give you a better reaction time and the ability to achieve greatness. However, you must still be able to control the sensitivity you have chosen properly. It is important to acknowledge if your sensitivity is too high or too low for your playstyle, you will ultimately suffer worse than if you didn't change it in the first place. My sensitivity is set at a look acceleration of 3 and 6.0 for the horizontal and vertical sensitivities. Another tip is to change your gun positioning. You may notice in Halo that some guns like to take up 73% of your screen. This can luckily be adjusted in the settings by finding the UI tab and moving the sliders located under the weapon offset subcategory. Mess around with this for a bit to get comfortable with what you prefer. My personal settings are set to 100% horizontal offset and negative 25% vertical offset for rifles, and 100% negative 100% for heavy weapons. Everything else is at the default setting. Believe it or not, aiming is a huge factor in the first-person shooters. This directly correlates to the previous mentioned sensitivity option. Too high of a sensitivity results in not being able to control where you are looking and possibly missing every shot by a mile, while too low of a sensitivity generates scenarios where you have to wait 20 minutes to look at someone shooting you from behind. In Ranked Arena, your starting weapon is the BMR. This rifle deals tons of damage, but even more if you are aiming for their head. 4 complete bursts of the BMR is enough to kill another player. In most situations, I would recommend not even using the scope, as it creates scenarios in which you may lose gunfights, or in general have a slower reaction time compared to the enemy. Not to mention every time you get shot while zoomed in, you automatically zoom out and have to readjust your aim. With that being said, there are situations in which I need to zoom in for longer distances. I personally line up the top of the reticle slightly below the noggin of the other player to account for the weapon kick, and more times than not, these bursts register as headshots. If it is a moving target or one that has caught me off guard, I tend to sweep up from their chest, which is a bigger target to hit, to their head to optimize damage output. As long as you are not putting bullets in their fingers or toes, this method should win you about 80% of your gunfights.
Now that's how it's done.
And to make things harder, you may want to include some movement while you are aiming and shooting. It may be common sense to some, but I'm still going to cover it. A moving target is definitely harder to kill than somebody standing still. This goes for yourself as well. Not just any movement will suffice, however. If you are shooting in a gunfight and only moving backwards and forwards, the enemy's reticle is still lined up with your head. Side-to-side strafing allows for the enemy to lose their reticle positioning, while at the same time missing their bullets. This is only step one, however. Some players enjoy the floor is lava too much as a kid, and believe they need to jump the entirety of the gunfight. This is good and all, but extremely predictable to most players that have any experience with Halo games. You also get a better reaction time if you are not sprinting. Sprinting may look like a good idea, but the walking movement is not that much slower and allows you to always be prepared for a gunfight. A good idea when it comes to movement is to go to the training mode, set the bot difficulty to Spartan, turn the setting Deathless on, and copy the bot movements the best you can. Doing this multiple times will create a form of muscle memory while you are playing, and you will do these type of movements by habit. I play through a match of this at least once every day as a warm-up. Have you ever been in a match and were absolutely dominated? That's because the enemy team most likely had great communication and callouts. Halo Infinite offers an in-game ping button you can make use of if you do not want to talk or have a headset. At the very least, this allows your team to know where an enemy may be, where and when a power weapon spawns, and even where you may want them to go. Ideally, communication through talking in a headset wins a majority of games just because everyone is working together. Halo Infinite also offers the locations of where you are on the map if you do not have your callouts memorized. Under the radar on the bottom left of your screen, you can find your location and tell people to come party. Grenades in Halo Infinite can make or break confirmed kills as well. If you have already played Infinite some, you might have noticed that most people have a rubber band strapped around their left bumper with all the explosions you'll see. Yes, this may get you a kill or two extra, but you definitely need to be mindful of where and when you're using your own. For instance, the game mode Strongholds requires players to capture zones around the given map. If you are blindly throwing grenades all the time, you may end up killing your own teammates that have already cleared out the objective, costing you the zone or even the game. These what-ifs can be applied to any game mode, so it's important to be mindful. Sometimes, other people are just better skilled. That is why you should know your limits in a gunfight. You would need to know in a split second whether you're able to make the kill or retreat. If you are looking to trade kills with an opponent or want to dwindle their shield down, the melee button is your best friend. Using melee at the right time in a gunfight could even give you the upper hand. Retreating from a gunfight does not say anything about your pride, but it may provide you with a chance to get the kill in another gunfight, especially if you wait for your teammates to spawn or be near you. Speaking of teammates, it is vital to play close to them. This is especially important in the game mode Slayer. Slayer is surprisingly all about the kills. In Ranked, you need 50 total kills as a team to win the game. If you are playing close to teammates, you have a better chance at winning more gunfights due to the fact you simply have more people shooting at the same target than they have. Playing close to teammates also allows you to trade kills. Like it was mentioned earlier, this term simply means if you die by an enemy player, your teammate that was with you can potentially kill an already damaged enemy. The kills are traded or balanced out. And lastly, it may be a good idea to learn the power weapon spawns. Each map in Ranked Arena provides power weapons in certain areas. These weapons, like the Gravity Hammer, M41 Spanker, Energy Sword, and so on, greatly outmatch the default BMR in the right situation. There are timers on these weapons along with your AI that suggests when it's available, but in some circumstances, the timer may be too short on time to be able to get to that section of the map. Learning these spawns will give you the advantage in killing enemy teammates, capturing flags or zones, or holding the oddball. This is the conclusion to improve your rank in Ranked Arena in less than 10 minutes. If you enjoyed the content, found anything helpful in the video, or even have tips of your own you can share for other people, please let me know. Be sure to check out my other videos on this channel, and I'll see you next time.
Grand Slam!